Welcome to my kitchen. This is my first Facebook Live as a Whole30 certified chef. So I'm very excited to share some fun things with you, and I hope that you get some good tips and tools out of this. Let's get started. The first thing I'm gonna do is so basic. It's boiling water. I'm not kidding, okay? We're gonna make hard-boiled eggs. It's my best method, tried and true, and I just wanna show you because there's so many things you can do with hard-boiled eggs, like everything. It's a protein bomb, and it's the best snack. It's the best way to start your day if you're not like up to a full breakfast yet. So this is really all you have to do. You have to excuse me because I don't have a cameraman today, so I'm gonna be going back and forth and hopefully you can see everything. What I'm doing first is I'm starting with 4 eggs in a saucepan, and there's just enough water to cover them. I'm gonna bring this to a full rolling boil, okay? While that's happening, we can get started on something else. If you have an Instant Pot, this is a great way to do this pulled chicken recipe. If you don't have an Instant Pot, you can easily do it in the oven in a baking dish. I have an Instant Pot. I'm not one of these people that really loves doing, crazy appliance things, but I've really found it to be something that I can't live without. So this is my Instant Pot. There we go. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have chicken breasts. I've got 3 chicken breasts in this package. I'm just gonna put these right into the bottom. I'm gonna add some salt, and I always use a good either kosher salt or a good quality sea salt. This is a Maldon sea salt. My neighbor buys it in like 5-pound buckets on Amazon, and then we split it. And I just keep it in a little jar like this. Some fresh ground pepper. Again, you don't have to measure, just do it till you kind of like the look of it. If it looks like it has enough seasoning on it, you probably do. And then a little bit of olive oil. Again, no measuring. It's maybe gonna be a couple of tablespoons. And that's that. So I'll put the lid on, and I'll make sure that the steam valve is set to closed. And let me come around to this side, and I will select cooking timer. Manual setting, and then the cooking timer automatically is at 30 minutes for mine, but I'm gonna bring it down to 12 minutes. And believe it or not, that is all you need to cook this chicken. So while that's happening, I'm gonna show you a breakfast dish. This is a muffin tin. I have a avocado oil spray, and I'm just gonna make 4 of these. You can make as many as you think you need to last you 3 or 4 days. And once they're baked, you can reheat them in the microwave for about 30 seconds and have a nice breakfast ready to go. This is prosciutto. I buy this at Trader Joe's. The only ingredients are ham and salt. So totally compliant. And I like this brand because it comes right off of the paper, and the prosciutto sheets don't stick together. It is a little tricky to handle because it's so thin, so be patient with it. And I'm just going to line, after I sprayed the cup, with the prosciutto. So I'm going around the sides first. It's very challenging to handle sometimes. And this one little piece came off, which is perfect because I can just lay it right into the bottom. So I'm gonna prep 4 of these. So now we have 4 of those all set to go. And then I have baby spinach and arugula. I'm just gonna take some pieces and tear them and drop them in. Now I hear my eggs, my hard-boiled eggs going over there. So here's the trick. You can see the pan is at a full rolling boil. There's steam coming off, the bubbles are going crazy. We're gonna turn it off, cover it with a lid, and set the timer for 8 minutes. So it's off. And it's just gonna cook in that hot water. And I do leave it on the burner. You can take it off. I just like to leave it on the burner. You'll see the color is the perfect yellow. You don't have that gray edge around the yolk, and they hold up in your fridge for several days. So back to this. Just gonna take some of those stems off. I don't like too many stems. And don't worry if it looks like you have them kind of filled a lot, because they'll cook down. And now I'm just gonna crack an egg into each cup. Just like that. Fills it up perfectly. If you don't like a whole egg, or you think you might like it better scrambled, for as many cups as you're doing, you'll do 1 egg, break them in a bowl, whip them up with a wire whisk, and then pour a little bit into each egg cup. You end up with the same thing, only with scrambled egg instead of a baked egg. And these, I have my oven preheated to 350, and they're gonna go in for about 8 minutes. Now, honestly, my oven can, vary from day to day. It's about 18 years old, so I start with 8 minutes, and if I need to add a couple more, I'll add a couple more. What I'm looking for is the white to be completely cooked, but not necessarily the yolk, because if the yolk stays a little moist, then it doesn't taste as rubbery or dried out when you reheat it. So these are gonna go in the oven. I don't usually like to buy farm-raised salmon, but I have found that if I buy Norwegian farm-raised salmon, it is very good quality. They don't give it as much color in the feed, but it's still a pretty color. And these pieces I buy at Whole Foods frozen and individually wrapped. There's about 6 in a bag, and they're just really easy to work with. Just gonna mix some mayonnaise. This is the Chosen Foods avocado oil mayonnaise. Like Christy was saying the other day, you can make your own, but there's really no point in that. When I first went Whole30 Paleo, there was no such thing as avocado oil mayonnaise, and now you can buy so many things that are paleo. It's really wonderful that the market has become so geared to our style of eating. That's about a half a cup of mayonnaise for 2 pieces of salmon. This is whole grain mustard. You can use any kind of mustard you like. You can use Dijon, just watch the label, make sure there's no sugar. So about a tablespoon, maybe a little more. All depends on how much you like mustard. And I'm just gonna mix that together. And you can see I'm not using any special appliances. I'm not crazy for all sorts of gadgets or anything like that. My favorite tools are my knives. And this is what really makes this dish. It's called Everything But the Bagel Seasoning. I buy it at Trader Joe's. Everything bagels are so delicious. I kind of miss them. So this is a nice way to have that without actually having a bagel. And of course, what's better than a bagel and smoked salmon, right? So what I'm gonna do is just place these pieces of salmon on a parchment lined sheet. And this recipe is, good for 2, but you can make as many as you like, and the recipe's on the website as well. And I'm just spooning this over the top. It's gonna make a nice sauce and crust. I'm just gonna use the back of the spoon to kind of spread it around. And you don't really need any salt and pepper, but maybe when it comes out of the oven, you can season it with some salt and pepper. And then I'm just gonna sprinkle this everything seasoning right over the top. When the eggs come out of the oven, I'll put this in for about 12 minutes. I'll actually turn the temperature up to about 425. I've found with salmon, especially farm raised, because it's fatty, the higher temperature you cook it and less time, it stays moist in the center and doesn't dry out, and the fat doesn't come out when the proteins cook and you get that kind of weird pink, you know, scummy stuff. You don't want that. So that seems to be the best trick. Once this shredded chicken is done, we can make chicken salad and we can make salsa chicken. And those are just easy things when you've got the chicken already cooked and ready to go. You know, 3 chicken breasts will probably last you a few days. And you can use them with all sorts of different recipes. Use your imagination. We like the bowls. We like the stuff over stuff. So this is a nice protein for that. Let me grab the ingredients for the next thing. So this is the shredded chicken that I already have cooked. You can see that it just shreds with 2 forks, and I'll show you how to do that when this is finished cooking. About 2 cups. About a tablespoon or 2 of onion. It's up to you and how much you like onion and how pronounced you want that flavor. About a 1/2 cup of celery. Some mayonnaise. Again, the avocado oil mayonnaise. And you can see most of these recipes, I'm reusing the same ingredients. There's a reason for that. You can use lots of the same ingredients to make very different dishes. So it really works out well, and you don't have to fill your pantry with a bunch of stuff for 1 or 2 recipes. That means the eggs are done, the hard-boiled eggs. And I'm just gonna take the lid and pour off this hot water. And then I'm gonna start with warm water to rinse the eggs, and then gradually switch it to cold water. That way the eggs, the shells don't crack, and it's easier to stop the cooking process. There's something called carryover cooking, which is when you take something out of the oven or off the stove, it's still hot and it's gonna continue to cook. That's why watching your cook times is so important. You wanna make sure that when you are done cooking something, it doesn't continue to cook. Running cold water on these eggs will stop the cooking process. And then I just store them in the refrigerator. They're cooled off already and they're ready to go. We already have the onion, celery, mayonnaise. I like to put some grapes. I've just cut them into quarters. Depends on how big the grapes are. And this recipe's on the website too. It's called Fruity Nutty Chicken Salad. Some fresh parsley. I have it in the yard because it grows like weed, literally, like a weed. And then a lemon. I'm just gonna cut the lemon in half and squeeze a little bit of lemon juice. And I'm just gonna mix that up. You can add some walnuts, you can add some almonds, a little salt and pepper. I bought my Greek coffee grinder a long time ago in Greece, and it's a staple in my kitchen as well. And I think I'm gonna grab some almonds. I buy these at Costco. They're sliced organic almonds, and just reach in that jar, throw in a handful, however many you think you like in your recipe. And we'll stir that together. The acid from the lemon gives the chicken a nice bright flavor. The mayonnaise just keeps it creamy and has it all hold together. And the grapes give it a nice sweetness along with the celery. And that's fruity nutty chicken salad. You can serve it on a lettuce leaf. You can just eat it right out of a bowl. When you already have it made, it's an easy pack and go kind of thing or a quick lunch. You can see that the yellow is just a nice bright yellow and the whites are just set. I'm gonna put it over here so they can cool a little bit. Finished. I'm gonna show you a quick egg salad. I, again, love to be able to use the ingredients I already have on hand. We just made some hard-boiled eggs. This is something I do probably twice a week for lunch. I'm just slicing through the egg and then I'm gonna chop it. So I'm just gonna put the 2 chopped hard-boiled eggs into a bowl. I'm just using a cereal bowl, okay? Soup bowl. Don't get crazy. You don't want to be intimidated having a bunch of extra stuff around. You just want to have good food to eat and you want it to be healthy and you want it to taste great. And one of my rules in the kitchen is if you're going to make it, make enough to last. Don't go back and do it again. We don't have time for that. So there's all the eggs in the dish. And now this is one of those no recipe recipes. I'm telling you, we're just gonna wing it. I have a little celery already chopped up. You can add onion if you like. I love avocado in my eggs. You can see this kind of helps keep them from turning brown. I used this avocado earlier today. I love plastic wrap. So I just I leave the pit in the avocado and I just stick it back together and wrap it really tight with plastic wrap. It'll probably start to oxidize in a couple of days, but you can get another day out of it. And I don't like to waste them. So I'm just gonna take the seed out. And I'm just gonna go through it with a fork and make little cuts. You can do it with a knife, just don't cut through the skin so you don't cut your hand. And then I'm gonna use the fork to scoop out the avocado. It's a little less than a half an avocado because I had some avocado on my lunch today. But you could do a half an avocado, you could do no avocado. It's totally your call. We've already got that mayonnaise out, so we might as well use it again. About a tablespoon. And I really like to mix this with a fork because it helps bring everything together and you can use the tines of the fork to mash a little bit and get those egg pieces mixed in. You can add some fresh herbs to this if you like. You can add a little hot sauce if you want it to have a little kick. And if you make enough to last a couple of days, the avocado might turn a little brown the next day, but it's kind of like a banana. You can still eat it. A little salt and pepper. I love Chosen Foods avocado oil mayo. I buy this giant jar at Costco. I don't know where you shop or if you have a Costco membership. The small 12 or 16 ounce jar at Whole Foods is maybe $8.99, and this giant jar, 24 ounce at Costco is $7.99. So I don't know if the prices vary depending on where you live, but definitely invest in the big jar because if you like mayonnaise, it's a great deal. Again, you can put this egg salad in a lettuce wrap. That's what I like to do. Or just eat it right out of the bowl. You can add a little tarragon, whatever you like. And now we're just gonna take this chicken out of the Instant Pot, and I'm grabbing 2 forks. And it smells delicious. And you can see that it's so tender, it just flakes apart with 2 forks. So very simple, easy, good cold. We made chicken salad with this chicken. And I just like to shred it to about bite-sized pieces. I don't like it to be too shredded. I don't like it to feel like it's mealy. I like it to still have some texture. Oh, and that olive oil just really gives it a nice fatty essence. We love healthy fats. Don't skimp on the healthy fats. So you get the idea. I love this Trader Joe's salsa. It's compliant. It doesn't have a Whole30 logo on it, but it is compliant if you take a look at the ingredients. It's called tomatillo and roasted yellow chili salsa, and it's organic. And I also love this Frontera Grill roasted tomato salsa. I've followed Rick Bayless as a chef for a long time, and he has this amazing line of ingredients. Some are compliant and some are not, so watch the labels, but this roasted tomato salsa is really delicious and just enough heat and cilantro. If you're not a cilantro fan, use parsley. I'm gonna start with a skillet. I'm gonna turn it on medium-high heat, seems to work with my stove. If you have gas, which I would love to have, but I do not, you can try experimenting with the temperature that works for you. I like to get the skillet hot and then add oil, and I'm using this avocado oil. Again, a great find from Costco. It's a giant bottle for very little money, and it will go a long way, and it's a very healthy fat. And if you decided to try and make your own mayonnaise, this is the avocado oil you can use. So I'm just gonna put about a tablespoon of oil in the hot skillet. First, we're gonna add the onion. It's about a cup of onion that I diced. I like to cook the onion first and then add the garlic because the onion cooks slower than the garlic, and I don't want it to get that burned flavor. Once garlic is burned, there's no going back. So it's starting to sizzle. I like to shake the pan a little bit. When I do that, it levels everything flat, and then it cooks more evenly. Also, when you're chopping onions or other vegetables, you want to try and keep the pieces to similar sizes. That way they all cook at the same time. If you've got big pieces and little pieces, the little ones are going to burn, the big ones are never going to cook, and it's never going to come out right. So practice your knife skills, do your best to try and get everything to the same size, and you'll find that that really improves your dish. That's starting to sizzle. While that's happening, I'm going to pull out one of these egg cups for you. I'm just using a small spatula. You can use a butter knife. I'm going to just get underneath to make sure that the ham didn't stick. I'm going to lift it right out. You can see that the egg cooked just right, and the ham is made a nice little cup on the outside. And cut into this. And the egg is just the perfect, a little cooked and still a little wet. And that's delicious. So we just want to sweat this onion. Sweat means that it starts to look a little translucent, but it's not turning color yet. And it's almost there. It doesn't take too long. And I'm a messy cook. I'm worse than Julia Child, so. You drop something, just pick it up and throw it back in, nobody's looking. A little bit of garlic. This is 1 big clove. If you like a lot of garlic, add some more garlic. And this just couldn't be easier. As soon as you start to get that nice garlic smell. I buy this cauliflower rice at Trader Joe's as well. Whole Foods was out of it today, yesterday when I went grocery shopping. So I went to Trader Joe's and I picked it up there. I'm just cutting the top off of the bag. It's still frozen. And I'm just gonna start stirring it so that the onion and garlic mix in with the cauliflower. You wanna cook this till it's al dente, just like rice. You don't want it to get too mushy, and you don't want it to be too crunchy. And you can hear it starting to slow down because the pan is getting cold from the frozen cauliflower. I'm just gonna adjust the heat a little bit and keep stirring until I feel like the onion and garlic are pretty well incorporated. And again, just shaking that pan so that everything is nice and level. And then we'll give it a stir. When this comes to pretty much a finished look for me, I've got some cilantro already chopped. I'm just gonna throw that in. Again, if you don't like cilantro, you don't have to do it. And then since I don't have lime, I'll just do a squeeze of a half a lemon. It smells amazing. And that looks beautiful. You can see that the mayonnaise made a nice golden crust, and you get all that wonderful seasoning from the everything bagel seasoning. So this looks like it's the way I want it. And now what I'm gonna do is take all that shredded chicken that we just pulled out of the Instant Pot. And I'm gonna add it right in. I'm going to add the cilantro. I'm going to add some salsa. This jar was open. It's only down to about there, so I'll probably do what would be about half a jar. And I'm just going to stir all that together. Now, if you don't want to layer, rather if you do want to layer your dish, you can just put the cauliflower rice in the bowl and then do the salsa chicken over the top. Or you can just mix it all together. I once heard a chef I knew say, I don't know if I'm lazy or smarter. So it's up to you what you prefer. And I want a big squeeze of lemon, so I'm gonna use my lemon squeezer. And if you want a little more heat, you can add some peppers, but the salsa has pretty much everything in it. And we're done. So I'm just gonna put this into a bowl. I love bowls. They're so comforting. Does it look delicious and nutritious? I like to leave the skin on. I think that it gives it more flavor, but look how easy it is to come off. Come on, go. If you want to serve it without the skin, it peels right off. I'll do that again in case you didn't see it. I'm just grabbing it. It is hot. I have asbestos fingers. And you can serve it without the skin. And there's the salmon. So that's everything I had for you today. We had a delicious salmon. We had cilantro rice with salsa chicken. And the chicken salad and the egg salad. And hopefully that's some good things to get your Whole30 cooking off the ground. I'll come back next week with some more ideas. Have a great afternoon and a great Easter weekend.